Good evening, good night, I guess, depending on where you are in this world. Welcome to Speed Gaming. We got a tournament race here in the fall tournament, winter tournament, fall, I guess it is. I'm Nielsen Alex 92. Joined by me, I got Sander Rabotnik. How you doing, Sander?
Doing pretty good. Excited for some late evening rando, although for you it's like early morning, isn't it?
Pretty much. We got fylion and Walter the Fourth here. First race in the first bracket stage match for these two runners. So what can expect from these two runners today?
Yeah, I don't know. Given that they both made it to the bracket, it's going to be really exciting stuff. Hoping to see some fun tricks. Since it's game one, there's no, there's not going to be anything like 6-6 or randomized dungeons. We're off here though, but basically I'm just hoping to see some really cool stuff by both runners. We'll see what happens as we find a piece of heart in Link's house.
A piece of art, that's not a cool thing. It's fine in the beginning. Map check. We have a regular crystal in Eastern Palace. We have a 5-6 crystal in Desert, and I think it was a red Hera.
Yeah, so a little of everything. One of each kind of thing we can find, except we haven't seen the green pendant yet. We'll see what we find down here. What's Uncle holding us in the little underground pre-escape sequence checks.
It's pretty interesting to see both runners going to Uncle in the beginning. Normally you get some divergency with one starting in Sanctuary, but pretty cool. And we've got a hook shot. Early hook shot is always nice to have because you can check the stun prices and you can move a little bit faster. And there's the first bottle from Sanctuary. So having a bottle going into Kakariko is going to be a nice start.
And Walter opting to not on the lumberjack ledge. It's going to save a little bit of time and movement, but won't know if Aghanim's going to be required in this seed, which is a little bit... It's not what I'm used to seeing, that's for sure.
I think, well, there's a good thing we're going to have early on. We got a glove here in the mushroom spot. But not checking lumberjack ledge is pretty good, I guess, because we don't even have the boots, so we don't know what's like. We will not have access to it no matter what.
True. I believe it's a pretty common route to take. I just feel like I'm used to seeing a lot of people check it, but you know, it's nice to see these little divergences from what I'm used to.
Oh yeah, it's always a nice feeling to just see something else, something different. Walter making good use of that glove that he picked up. Going to farm some bumps here for the Blind's hideout and the Kakariko.
Yeah, that's definitely some knowledge I'm a little short on, is knowing like what liftable objects have a chance of having bombs. I know there's like a bush in the southwest of Kakariko, but apparently with early gloves, there's that rock there you can check in front of the fortune tellers to hopefully get a bomb drop. Definitely going to make Blind's basement and the well not require double dips, which is really...
Starting out with Blind's hideout, we got 10 arrows, piece of heart, 3 bombs. We don't need to buy any bombs here. And another piece of heart. Ooh, we got a bug net.
And fylion going to the well first, I believe it's because it's the quicker of the two checks to do, and therefore if you don't have bombs, less costly to double dip. Although in this case there were no bombs, whereas in Blind's basement, unfortunate that in this seed it didn't pay off.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of annoying situation for fylion because not finding any bombs here right now. You need to go in and buy bombs, and we'll find bombs in Blind's hideout.
At the very least, a lot of people have been wishing and throwing rupees down the well, so Phylion's got plenty of money to buy the bombs from the shop, so probably will be getting those. And
look at that. We got an ice rod early on. I don't know if that's a good sign or not, because early ice rod tends to be a pendant to rock. It's just a feeling I have.
I'm honestly in agreement with you. That's very common from what I've seen as well. It's either early ice rod means that, or it's a crystal in Turtle Rock and something's on Laser Bridge.
I mean, it's almost like there's almost something on Laser Bridge, like any seed you're playing. So Kakariko doesn't really have that much. We have the Ice Rod and the Bugnet. I guess the Bugnet could be good because safety reasons, but not that much in here. A piece of heart on the library, so nothing we will need boots for.
And Walter doing something else I'm not used to seeing, deciding to not peek at what's on the race ledge and decide to do the race here. Something I'll do sometimes if I don't feel like, wasting time checking, but it's just a little slower if there's nothing here. But hey, if it's something good, saves you some time.
And oh boy it did, because we got our first bow. I understand why he did it, like he did a blind check of the race game, because there was pretty much nothing inside Kakariko, so it's like, take the gamble, maybe there's something on the race game, and today there was a big bow.
Yeah, and Walter making use of those early gloves, going to go ahead and check the back of Escape here.
Hey, there's the single arrow for your newly found bow. I guess this is going to be Walter's way to buy bombs here at the and check the Lake Helia Island, and then go up and take out his first crystal dungeon in Eastern Palace. fylion is going to do the same exact play Walter just did for just a couple seconds ago, and Walter is going to give us Sarashala's Closet. We have more bombs, even more bombs, and a piece of art. So not really anything inside that closet.
It's interesting to see how the items they find sort of, because a lot of times we'll see like a check of maybe mini Moldorm and like what's at the dam and all that. But with the bow in hand, they're like, no, I want to do Eastern. Let's go. Let's get a crystal.
It's interesting to see them go to Eastern early on, but it's just like you're saying. You can do it if you're really good at dark rooms. I've got a green pendant ice palace. But yeah, cleaning out your first crystal dungeon when it's like 10 minutes into the seed, it's a nice feeling to just have it done.
For sure, and I like that they have. They're showing us you get to skip a little loop on the far right. You can just fly across here and get a shovel of all items.
I gotta love those early fetch quests. So there's 2 more items in here, so let's see what we'll get from Eastern Palace more than that shovel.
Finding the big key, which means that beating this dungeon is technically, in logic, full clearable.
Not quite yet. Since
not full clear, but
yeah.
Sorry, yeah. But the crystal is in logic, at least, right?
Not really, because we're still lacking a fire source for that last room.
That's right. That room behind the locked door is dark too. It's a slip of the mind.
That room can be a little bit annoying. If you don't like, if you really know your dark rooms, that room is easy. But if you're that Igor that has a small key, if you kind of miss it, it can put you off a little bit. So there's the flippers.
That's making that green pendant a little spicier if we get a couple more items to get us in there.
It's definitely going to make that mini Moldorm cave and all that, those checks down the South Shore more... you can do so much checks here now when you're done with this dungeon. Yeah,
just the one thing to keep in mind, which probably isn't a big deal for these runners, is that it is technically a sequence break because they went through those dark rooms without fire rod or lantern. It won't affect them too much, but just a little routing knowledge to be aware of.
Looks like Walter lost the Igor here, so it's going to use that bean he has found in Kakariko. Or if it was maybe Sanctuary, but still. So that is why that room is one of the harder dark rooms, at least in Eastern Palace, because the other one that they just did is pretty much free.
Yeah, it's deceptively difficult because it's like, oh, just kill the guy on the right, go to the door on the top left. But once some of those enemies start moving around, they can really start bullying you if you're not careful.
Looks like fylion had a little bit more of an easy dark room there. Walter didn't really get a quick kill here on the Armus Knights, but takes down his first crystal dungeon and gets a blue rupee.
I noticed Walter went in with a full quiver. Fylion's only got 19. I think if Walter went with 119, he may have run out of arrows, so got to be a little careful here.
Ooh, that was just enough arrows for fylion.
Had one extra just to swag and shoot into the wall for fun. That was intense.
That could have been very bad if it didn't really pay off. All right, here we go. We're going to get the South Shore checks here from Walter, and I guess fylion going to do the same thing since we haven't checked these areas out. So Walter's going to skip the dam and probably going to route it in together with Agina.
I do like having hookshot in here because sometimes I'll come in with like bombs only and just waste them all trying to hit these little mini mold dorm. Okay, no problem, They're dead. Let's see what's in the back.
₹5, 20 rupees. The lamp that puts Eastern Palestine logic, 10 arrows, and 20 rupees for in the mini Molorn cave.
And we do have some divergence here as fylion goes through the escape sequence.
Yeah, I like this play from fylion, going to the escape part before even going to South Shore. So that's a fun thing, fylion just showing off that the one hit with the ice rod on the blue guards kills them instantly.
Walter, meanwhile, going to the ice rod check. It's really far out of the way, although with flippers was able to do a little bit of swimming, which is slightly faster than walking, so gets there a little faster and shows off a slightly different route.
Not that much in South Shore, more than that ice rod, the lamp, of course, not the ice rod. We already had that one.
fylion setting up for a death and getting ready to toss this guard at his buddy over on the right. So cruel.
Yeah, I love that strat. Just pick him up and throw him at the chain guard. Oh, it gets the heart. Oh, that's bad for fylion. Setting up that death warp for and gets that piece of heart to give him the maximum health refill.
And resetting the room just to get the death warp he wanted all along.
Yeah, and I think fylion didn't count the items because there's a map inside the... I think the map is inside Dark Cross, if I remember it.
If so, that is an unfortunate time sink here. Admittedly, I did not catch what items we've seen.
More bombs in Agina's cave, so I guess this is Walter's play to go up to Death Mountain now, since he has the lamp in pretty nice in lot.
Yeah, seems like it. I will say, it looks like we're having an old man boom boom seed here, so old man climbing up Death Mountain might also be Agina and Sahasrara if...
Oh, he's going to put up, he's going to do that hula hand play first, Walter.
Definitely a good way to farm up some money so you're ready for Zora.
I will have plenty of enough money for Zora and the Dark World checks later on when we have Dark World access. But there was some 10 arrows in Darkra, so it was an item, but not the item Fylion wanted to find, I guess.
At the very least, gets peace of mind knowing that nothing's left behind there. And I'm not a fan of orphaning checks like that because it just eats at my head like, what if there was something there the whole time?
Oh yeah, definitely, and that's just one check that if you skip it out, it will be a last location.
Speaking of checks, I can get orphaned sometimes. Going to end up using the shovel here to get this quick one-off check. Digging up another piece of heart.
That's pretty funny because Walter just picked up a piece of heart as well from the hobo.
So where do we have left to go at this point? Is it Zora area and then up Death Mountain?
Yeah, that's pretty much all we have left right now. Pretty sure we will find something here at least. Well, even more money for Zora, but we already have that Zora money.
And Fylion was trying to show off a little hookshot strat to open the chest while pushing the block. Unfortunately, misses it, and we'll have to go back in to get that item.
Yeah, I really didn't really catch what was on Zora's ledge. Heart piece of heart on Zora's ledge. Thank you, Chad. Ooh, first Zora and Zora. Interesting. We're one item away from putting Aghanim in logic.
And as the accessible locations wears thin, that's starting to look pretty likely here.
Yeah, we have the mountain left, but we still need 2 items to for Dark World access. Either we need a Moon Pearl, but we need either a Mitts or a hammer as well.
Yeah, we'll be able to climb Death Mountain, and we actually, with the hookshot, we'll be able to get to right side. So that includes Spiral Cave and Paradox Cave as well. Should be accessible.
Yeah, so there's plenty enough checks up here to find both items we need for Dark World access, but I don't know, do we find it up here?
Finding that sword's got me a little nervous.
I think that's not what the runners want to find right now, at least. Well, there's 20 rupees from the old man on the mountain.
And climbing up here, we'll be able to see what's up on the rock ledge, another piece of heart, and let's see if what's inside is of any value.
Well, that's a Moon Pearl.
Something tells me jump it down to get that.
Yeah, we really want that one, that's for sure.
Nice trade there, Fylion. Toss a B.
Toss a B and get a B. That's how it works, right?
I think so. It's like, hey, excuse me, I think you dropped this little guy. Here, have him back. And at least the 2 Bs can be friends behind the waterfall.
So I think the odds are pretty high here that we're getting our Dark World access from Paradox Cave.
And if it's a Titan's Mitt, we could also go ahead and do some Dark World Death Mountain while we're up here. So we'll see if we find it, will Walter sort of make that adjustment and be like, oh, I got more stuff. Let's do it.
Yeah, that would be the optimal, I guess. And then maybe finding a hammer up in the Hookshot Cave. But oh, there's the Master Sword.
Oh no, that's not good. That's not good.
That puts Aghanim very close now. Yeah, that Paradox Cave didn't really have much, and we only have Spiral Cave left.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think? Do you think there's going to be anything? Think we'll see a hammer or mitts in Spiral Cave?
I'm going to say no. I really think this is the Aghanim seed now.
If you'll say that I'm gonna be then. There's gonna be something. You know, it's gonna be the mushroom or the Sprite powder. Just delayed gratification. That's what I'm feeling.
So you really want them to have like a mushroom and it'll be like, let's go and turn that one in first.
Yeah, I think they'll get one of those and it'll give them the mitts or hammer. I don't know. Just so it's not like that free, but they still get.
Well, it would be interesting to get that scenario to see who's okay. It's an Aghanim seed.
Rando gonna be Rando.
So what Walter will do now is just going to clear out the Harrow Castle checks and the shovel spot, of course, that fylion did, and then it's going up the Agate Tower.
And going through there and getting Dark World through Agate Tower actually opens up a lot because they can make their way to the west side of Dark World with that hook shot, and then they could come back with the flippers too. So it could be a while before we see mitts or hammer, or at least it could be delayed for a little bit.
Yeah, especially if that hammer is inside pod and they don't go to pod early on, that would take them a while to get that hammer in that game.
Is that what you're hoping for, or do you want these runners to have a little bit of generosity in there?
No, I just feel like when it's a negative seed and you're missing out on the hammer, it feels like the hammer is always in pod for some weird reason.
Yeah, there's what up at 4 items in pod. It's been a while since I've counted.
4 or 5. I'm not 100% sure anymore.
That's fair. Yeah, there's so many keys in there. Sometimes I lose track.
So, I mean, it's not that bad going into Aghanim and do that for Dark World access. It's not that bad.
I will say, for the sake of the runners, I'm glad they at least got Master Sword for their Aga access rather than Fighter Sword Cape. Just because I'm not a fan of having to climb up Aga Tower with just a Fighter Sword.
Yeah, it's not the most fun thing to do going into the Aga Tower with only a Fighter Sword. There's way much funner ways to do it. Also, you have a better sword going into Dark World later on.
For sure, just a little more convenient. Walther also setting up for a death warp here. I'm not sure how many pieces of heart they have. Are they going to get healed up here? No.
Nope.
Okay.
Get
not as
saved.
bad of luck.
So Walter is going to realize any second now that unfortunately we're going to do the whole tower. Fylion's going to do the same thing here. I think he has Hobo and Agina's cave still left, so Walter will be probably be the first one to enter Agnem's tower first.
A quick little thing to point out. I'm looking at the Grunkle thing. It's a cute little touch that every time he gets hit, the hat sort of... Some of the sprite work done by the artists is very impressive.
Yeah, I like that sprite. It's very good sprite. I think Fylion's one is the Darkling, right? It's just called Darkling.
Yeah, this is still a pretty good dark character sprites.
There's so many sprites, it's just hard to keep up with the names of them. So neck and neck going up Agnem's tower. Fylion having more health than Walter has, so has to be a little bit careful here, Walter.
Yeah, and there may be 2 chests in Aga's tower here, but given that we're not, chests are always guaranteed to have keys here, so never going to find anything useful in Aga Tower except for the Dark World access.
If this was Key Sanity, though, it would have been differently, like a different story, but nothing wild like that today, so that's pretty good. Just get your Dark World access.
And we're about to unlock Lumberjack, though we don't have boots, so we can't get the item. But yeah, it's interesting to think we have no idea what's up there yet because neither of these runners snuck a peek.
Well, hopefully we have boots on the pyramid, so we can just go and check it real fast, right?
That would be convenient for sure.
Just find your hammer on Lumberjack Ledge.
I like Walter's use of the boomerang there to stun enemies and just make it a little easier to farm up hearts because they're a little low on health here. There's not too much left before Agnem. I've seen this room here. Hopefully Walter gets through it just fine.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't get hit here by the blue balls. And talking about blue balls, how many blue balls do you think Agnem will give Walter here? I think 15 is the maximum. So I guess 0 up to 15.
I'm thinking it's going to be on the low side, maybe 3 or 4. And I mentioned Walter had to be careful. Fylion took a fall on his on health, so getting him with low health shouldn't be that much of a problem, but it's still a...
Yeah, it's... I would be super scared about this. That's one blue ball from Agnem. And of course, when Agnem gives that lightning, you're always guaranteed a regular electricity ball. second blue ball. Two blue balls, that's all we got from Aghanim, so a pretty nice Aghanim today. Interesting, we got a Swamp Palace as the last pendant, and we have a 5/6 crystal, the last 5/6 crystal in Palace of Darkness.
Both runners make it into the Dark World nice and clean, get their health refilled. Nothing on the pyramid except a few more bombs. So off to see where they're heading next. Is Walter going straight for pod? Just a lot of items there. There's got to be something.
This is where the divergence is going to start here. We can see fylion just heading straight up. I think this is a catfish play.
Yeah, coming out of pyramid, this being just kind of, you know, it feels like, hey, I'm right there. And plus, they've already routed the rest of the Zora checks, so like, there's nothing else around catfish. From here, though, with the hook shot, is maybe hook shot themselves across to the west side, in which case they'll be putting off pod for a while. That, boy, are we in for quite the diverging seed routing here.
And this is the this is just the interesting part of Rando. It's a tournament race, and honestly, it just comes down between execution and routing, and you can see that they're pretty even when it comes to both of it. 20 rupees at catfish, so nothing important there.
And finding a key in that first chest, not that it really mattered, but this dungeon was not bow locked for most entry, but we got a bow before we make it to the Dark World.
Yeah, we sure did, so no need to think about that at least. I actually think fylion is going to do that to play here, to just cross over here and explore the rest of the Dark World.
Nothing inherently wrong with either of these runners' decisions. It's just two different routing options that are both going to lead to a lot of just thinks, I hope there's something here.
It's going to take a little while for fylion to get some dungeon checks and chests and items overall, but could just get lucky and find a hammer here on this side and be able to go to bot later on. I think that was 10 arrows on the bumper cave, bumper ledge.
That's what it looked like to me, yeah. And fylion heading into Skull Woods here with the new way that keys are placed around here. That room south of where they are now, the pin is not getting anymore. So if we go into that room from the ceiling, we could accidentally get locked in. But finding one other item left in Skull Woods, hopefully we find it in the front and not have to worry where it is for a while.
Now talk about that mushroom you found in Spiral Cave earlier.
Yeah, it could still lead to another glove or the hammer. Just delayed gratification, you know.
It sure could. I mean, it would be pretty fun now. And we're just getting a lot of keys here in pods, so nothing so far.
Yeah, it's very common for the front of pod to be loaded with keys just because the way you get placed, it's always set. You can't get dungeon even if you use the worst key routing imaginable. That doesn't happen. A lot of the first chests you check out is going to be keys on keys on keys.
You get all the 6 keys in the front of pod. That's something I haven't really seen that often. Ooh, there's a Titan's Myth for Walter in pod.
Unfortunately, not what we need to full clear the dungeon while we're here, but only good for your light world to dark world. Oh, there. Never mind. We got a hammer. We got a hammer.
Yeah, this is wow. Going to pod was the correct play here early on, because this is going to open up so much for Walter here. I'm telling you, it's always a hammer in pod when it's an item seed. I'm telling you.
I'll have to keep that in mind. Yeah, and this pod stands for Palace of the Goods.
It sure does. That was wild.
And the Goods is confirmed, just one word, D-A-G-O.
And there's blue mail as well, so we don't really need to pick up anything else for, well, a couple of more heart pieces or something like that. Talk about heart piece, full refill there for Walter.
Yeah, if they were hoping for a death warp, it's going to be a little bit harder with that. Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. With blue mail and that extra heart refill, going to be a little slower, but, you know, still pulls it through. Typically,
and fylion found the flute in the C-shaped house.
Definitely will be good for. They have, like, their only way back into the dark world is through the pyramid, because yeah, they just need to get themselves over there for that hammer and Titans.
I mean, the flute is not really unlocking anything, so that's a good sign for fylion. It could be dangerous to go into Thieves Town here without that hammer if you're going to full clear it with, like, which I think fylion is going to do.
I will, for Phylion's sake, hopefully there's no in that big chest. We got one here in the first chest, 3 left, and 3 chests in the front. Chest will have to have the big key though. And there it is.
Well, hopefully we don't find a small key for fylion. That could be a bad sign. So I wonder where Walter will go now when he's done with Pod here, going to get their second crystal.
I don't know. Probably, honestly, Thieves Town or maybe bad now that they can save and quit and then just get into the dark through that warp zone over there by the Lost Woods.
And there's so many different ways to route the seed now, so everything has opened up a lot here. There's the second crystal for Walter at like 43 minutes. Even though it was an item seed, they already got 2 crystals, so that's pretty good.
And talking about key placement, and we're behind a locked door upstairs here. This chest cannot be the Thieves Town key. Just a compass.
So it looks like Walter is going to take the decision to go to a Hype Cave, or... Well, let's see if it actually is Hype Cave before we even mention the name.
Don't think it's going to be hype just because we already found 2 items in pod. Seed's going to take a quick and then back to the action.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it's going to give us that, to be honest. Well, there's Tempered Sword, so I guess that's pretty good. Well, there's a mirror. I mean, that's a pretty decent. I would say that's a 5 out of 10.
I was using reverse psychology on the cave and it worked. That's what I'm gonna say. And unfortunately, I think we only saw 2 items so far, so Blind will have something, but there's something else in the big chest still.
Yeah, that's bad for fylion. This is going to be very good for Walter, finding that mirror, because K45, you can do all those checks going up before even entering Thieves Town. Do the Smith chain as well, if he wants to. That's a cool color here for fylion on this fight in this room.
Yeah, I started and my peripherals just caught like a sudden just brightness. I was like, what's going on?
Second crystal down for fylion and hard container, I think it was.
That's what it looked like. Walter, meanwhile, K45 finding Bombos.
We don't know if it's needed or not, but it sure is a good thing to have right now.
For sure. And I thought here, I doubt anything will happen with this right now, but Walter, full clear swamp at this point, couldn't they?
Yeah, they can full clear swamp, but do you want to do it?
Yeah, it's a pendant, but it's got 6 items, so you gotta wonder with full something hiding in there? It's kind of funny how both of these runners managed to get at the same time after taking completely different routes to get here.
It looks like Walter is going to pick up that little guy here and start the whole Smith chain. Might not do the purple chest quite yet.
I noticed they didn't do the hammer thing that maybe they get boots off of Smiths here.
Yeah, otherwise we just have to do it the slow way. Oh, well, talking about a witch, right? Burn the witch.
How often does that pay off?
Well, as it seems right now, we could do... He will get his flute here, so we can take a sneak peek into a desert palace. And we can full clear it and get that 5-6 crystal.
The boots were on the Smith and the fire rod inside. Wow!
God routing this seed for Walter right now. Wow.
Bad news on fylion side. Ran out of bombs before getting to the back of Hype Cave.
This is... Wow.
Not to leave it behind, so about to find their mirror here. So at least they won't leave it behind if it ends up a little unfortunate, like a double dip of Hype Cave.
Yeah, sometimes that happens. It's not often that you see it, but it's good awareness from fylion that you can buy bombs in that place.
Love for that first chest. Also taunts you with 3 bombs. Oh, you need the bombs again? Here, have some. Oh, mind.
I mean, sometimes that's just how the game plays you.
For sure, and I will admit that has happened to me before. I've used my last bomb to get into Hype Cave and realize as I'm trying to throw a bomb, oh wait, I ain't got none.
Chad is actually pointing out right now, we just need a Cane of Samaria and the maybe one or two medallions. If we're lucky, we only need bombos for both Meyer and Turok.
That is pretty insane how close we potentially are to go mode here. Dang.
And for everybody else, for those asking, this is the first race between Walter and fylion, and this is a normal 7-7 crystal defeat Ganon.
What if that last item is in Lumberjack? I keep bringing it up just because they never checked it.
Well, that or Samaria is just in the big chest of the Thieves Town.
We'll find that out pretty soon here as Walter through that back section of Thieves Town.
And fylion activating the flute. It's going to be interesting to see where fylion decides to go here. Turning the mushroom. Let's see. Is the mushroom going to give us Samaria, maybe?
Could be. Also, the fact that they're dropping to be able to do the fake powder, although you need Kina Samaria to fake powder rating for, so it's not that big a deal.
fylion not really happy to see more bombs there, getting taunted by the game.
Agina before doing interesting. Here we just saw, so the wrong bent wooden stick.
A red boomerang in the Thieves Town big chest, so fylion got saved there, doesn't need to think about that chest for a while. Hopefully he will find all the other items before even thinking about that big chest. Walter is showing us the scripted fight here with Blind and pulls it perfectly.
fylion going back up Death Mountain with Mirror in hand is going to be able to dip Tower of Hera. Is really putting off going Palace of Darkness here, which unfortunately we know is very for.
Yeah, this is just going to, sadly, it's going to put him so much more behind than he already is, because he's not going to find anything here.
There could be something in, and the possibilities of a pedestal go mode, could this be a pedestal seed still?
It could, because Cane of Samaria could be on that pedestal. If you're Walter right now, you gotta feel good finding that flute as well. It's one step closer to being go mode. Did we find all the items in Skullwoods, or we just found that mushroom, right?
I don't remember if there was a second item, unfortunately. Finding that key in that chest here in Tower of Hera is no good. That means we might be having to head down to the base.
You don't want to do that basement. It's just slow to do it. Just the way we have found progression items since we got Dark World access is pretty crazy how fast we found it. Mitts and Hammer in pod, and then it was a mirror leading both. We don't know if we need bombos or not, but bombos and then Fire Rod and Boots neck back to back there in Village of Outcast.
Yeah, for sure. The way Walther's been just has paid off exponentially. Fylion desperate looking for an item here. Coming back into here after beating Moldorm. Fortunately finds the second item without heading into basement, so is able to leave without taking that coffee break.
Okay, this is good. It goes into portal, saves and quits. Since we took out Aghanim, he's going to start right at the pyramid. He's going to go to pod now.
Yeah, that was some good thinking. I would have just automatically... You have the mirror in hand, and you've beaten Aghanim, and you save and quit in the Dark World. It puts you on top of the pyramid rather than back.
There's our second item in Skullwood, so we don't need to go... Well, Walter haven't found the mushroom yet. Oh, wait. Fylion is going to Graveyard Ledge, I think.
My guess is what Phylion's thinking is, okay, I've put off pod this long. I'm screwed no matter what. Let me to it.
I did not expect him to go to Graveyard Ledge before pod, to be honest.
I think it makes sense, just... It has to not be in kind of thought process.
I mean, it makes sense going up here because it's just one check you orphan a lot of, but I mean, it could be lucky here to get the red cane or not 10 arrows. Okay, saves and quits again. So now this is going to be pod this time around.
I
guess he just wanted to have that check out of the way, so he didn't really need to think about it.
Yeah, which makes sense. It's just thinking coming out of pod is going to have to then do the Smith chain, which a lot of the stuff nearby cleared already, so it's going to look less appetizing per se for Fylion to go to as Death Mountain or something. So we could see a delay in finding that fire rod for a while.
Yeah, exactly. And look at this. I'm going to get a blind lumberjack ledge check here.
I like this play, if for no other reason than I just want to know it's here already.
Well, I mean, we got more money to buy safety potions.
Yeah, totally worth it, I'd say.
So for Walter, it's going to be, let's see, it's going to be Bunk Rocks into Graveyard Ledge and the King's Tomb, and probably flew away to a desert area.
Yeah, it definitely seems like a nice, smart way to route things in boxes.
I mean, for Walter, if there's we haven't seen King's Tomb yet, so if we're going to get a King of Samaria here and you only need bombos, perfect scenario for Walter.
I'm noticing fylion routing Palace of Darkness slightly differently than when they got their first key from that chest that's kind of like above a ledge you can drop down from.
Oh,
They did
burn the witch. There's the King of Samaria and King's Tomb. I shouldn't have said anything.
We might not be in go mode yet.
No, but we're one step closer to it because he can do Meyer, and he can if it's the correct medallion, of course. But yeah, let's see.
Yeah, it all comes down to those coins.
There's bombos for Meyer at least, so that's one more check. One more for him at least.
So it all comes down to Turtle Rock.
A good old Turtle Rock. So Walter here is going to save and quit because he wants to go and check out what medallion is required for Turtle Rock, I think. Because then he knows if he's in go mode, he can just go mode Meyer, Desert, and Turtle Rock.
Makes sense. Definitely good to get that knowledge. And I will say we know for sure, for one, Laser Bridge can't have anything.
I mean, you could just have silver arrows, but with the skill levels of these two runners, they don't need that. So the big question is right now, do we have go mode or not?
I'm not ready for go mode. I want this to go a little bit longer.
It's a little bit. I mean, it's an Aga seed, but still, pretty much a jet seed at this. If you've been routing it like Walter have done, it's basically a jet seed.
All right, here we go. Place your bets. Is it going to be?
Oh, it's Quake for Turtle Rock. Vanilla Quake. We're not in go mode.
Seen the required medallion rock inside Hookshot Cave or on that ledge, so we might still have it real quick here.
There's Butter Sword. That's pretty nice.
Not this time.
Okay, maybe there is something in Super Bunny Cave.
Oh yeah, it could be. 2 more checks here. Meanwhile, Fylions finally got their Titans and their hammer. But a lot more they had after Palace of Darkness.
There's a fire shield. So where do you go now, Walter? Well, I mean, Walter, you can just go to Meyer and Desert Palace as well, because then you unlock a Pyramid Ferry. So you got some options here. But Walter looks like Walter's going to turn in the mushroom and go to catfish at the same time.
I guess they just really want to go mode those last 3 dungeons.
I don't think they want to dip into pendant dungeons yet.
Don't see that too often. Walter using the mirror rather than screen scrolling to get the item. That may be the only intentional mirror bonk.
Mirror bunking is like the best thing. It's so fun to do it. The only time you actually want to bunk, you know. The only good bunking.
In the right situations, yes.
Okay, so this is going to Walter setting up the place of Mire and Desert right now.
Looks like they're choosing to do Mire first here.
You do Mire first, and then you can go just run over to Desert Palace and just use your flute to wherever you want to go. So you don't need to have that extra mirror transition.
I see. Good to know. Meanwhile, Phylion's fluting away from nearby Eastern to draw at the desert area. Might be seeing a Mire play from Fylion as well.
Yeah, if Fylion does this play, he doesn't have the Cane of Samoria, so that would be a double dip for him.
That is true. The Fylion will have to do the Smith chain, or the Smith's back, to get the boots and lead to the King's Tomb.
Oh yeah, right. You haven't done those checks either, so yeah, that's true.
Yeah, unfortunately, a few steps behind on getting that Mire access. Yes. May not even be able to finish Desert here if it's boots.
Yeah, at least we're going to get the knowledge here if it's boots locked or not. Well, it could be like you get small key and you can check something, but there's a big key, so it's a God Mire, but can't really go mode.
There's only 2 items in here though, so I mean, could go straight to the back to see if there's an item there or not, but deciding to check some items first, this is probably pretty smart. It's not fun to have to re-enter Mire. It's not the worst thing sometimes, but it's not fun.
There is definitely... Well, it's not boots locked, Desert Palace, but it could still be the item you need on that torch, if you're unlucky. So if there's like a Quake medallion here for Fylion on the torch, that would be bad. Okay, good. It's just a heart container.
At this point, is Pedestal Fylion needs to get back into the race?
Yeah, that's true. It could still be Pedestal, but I feel like it's so unlikely at this point. It's actually, I mean, I've seen the other stuff, but I shouldn't rule it out yet.
Yeah, I'm just thinking at this point, Walter does seem to have a pretty commanding lead, but you can rule out any possibilities until they cross that bridge after the Ganon fight.
either way, it's going to take a while before we even start thinking about pedestal. At this point, there's one item, 50 rupees. Looks like Walter's just going to decide and go to Vitreous. Not going to bother with the other chests here. Oh, it was the second item. See, Chad is on point. I'm not, apparently.
I like the use of Ice Rod here on Lamolus. Just a fun little thing to show that they actually enemies instead of just freezing.
So nothing of value in Desert Palace, but for fylion, he's actually having everything for Pyramid Ferry, so we could get that check pretty soon. ₹20 in checkerboard caves, so nothing of use for our runners today.
And I like Walter's use of the blue potion just to kind of tank their way through this fight, finishing off Meyer. And it's gonna do a dip of Meyer. They're gonna.
Ooh.
Right?
This is. I mean, fylion will be able to get both items, but will not be able to finish it off, so it's going to be a double dip here. I mean, I think fylion at this point feels behind and feel like he needs a gamble here. It's missing Fire Rod and it's missing King of Tomorrow at this point. Getting those mitts and hammer that late in pod can really change your mindset playing, because I think at this point you might feel like your opponent already got those items.
After Desert for Walter here, what checks do we have?
I would assume that he will go to Pyramid Ferry for Walter. And let's see, what have Walter not done? It will be a decision to go to Hera, go to Swamp Palace, or go to Ice Palace. I think they didn't do purple chest either, so there's some few locations they can do. I guess Spike Cave as well, since the amount of bottles they have.
They do have the means to tank their way through that check.
I guess the only sad part right now is that we don't have the book, so we can't even read the tablets or pedestal. So we're going to just have if it's a pedestal seed, we just have to do it blind.
For sure. Remember how I said that we got the means to do Swamp Palace early? I think there's a chance that Swamp might be the play next. I'm just picking a place, and that's my guess.
We know Hera doesn't have anything of value, so but say Ice Palace or Swamp Palace feels like the best play right now. I'm starting to think Quake is inside Pyramid Fairy. I just have that feeling right now.
Oh, fylion doesn't have the fire rod, so we have to see this slow lantern amp way of lighting these 4 torches.
Yeah, exactly. I think this is going to be something like Walter is going to do this check here now, Pyramid Fairy, and maybe then take the decision depending on where he wants to go. I guess maybe Ice Palace feels... It's 3 items and there's a green pendant as well. Or he does Swamp Palace first before doing Pyramid Fairy.
Items is calling out to him, I guess.
Well, it depends on where fylion is going now. He's going to do Pyramid Fairy, so that's going to be one check that Walter is going to put off right now. But, I mean, if he finds Quake here, we know where Walter will get his Go Mode item. I kind of feel like this interesting play from Walter, and it could just pay out. And it looks like fylion is actually going to do the same thing as well. So don't listen to me. I don't know what they're doing.
It's all good. Well, this being the case, we're going to see a whole lot here.
I think this is the first time since the beginning of this seed that Walter and fylion is actually in the same area.
They did a real quick high five at Shovel Game, but besides that, yeah, they're both going to be in here for the long haul for a while. At this point, do you think the runner's left side of Swamp?
fylion will most likely do it the first time here. He's lacking a lot of items. Walter might just go to left side when he's done with the dungeon. Okay, Walter's going to left side swamp. Found both map and compass here. There's going to be 2 items on the left side. Makes sense going in here. Looking for Quake. Could find something else that could speed this up for Walter, I guess. Maybe Silver Arrows, but I mean, at this point, Butter Sword, Silverless. I think both runners can do it pretty fast. Let's see.
Postponing left side.
Yeah, this is interesting from fylion. Nice health refill there for Walter on the left side. Nothing of value so far inside this dungeon. Oh well, wrong medallion.
One.
The good old troll.
There's still a chance.
Let's go to Swamp Palace to try and find that Quake medallion. Gets Ether medallion. Feels bad, man.
At this point, fylion does not know, correct?
Yeah, Walt for fylion, this could be very good because he, like you were saying, he doesn't know that Quake medallion is required for turret rock, so you might feel like I'm in a good spot here. But on the other hand, I think this might put fylion to go to a turret rock area, to Hookshot Cave, because he hasn't been there either. So he has a lot of stuff to do, Smith Chains and Hookshot Cave and Super Bunny Cave and all that stuff. So he doesn't even know he's missing out on Quake either. But
so
there's
nothing, yeah.
Yeah. Go
Pendant.
on.
Thing immediately useful here. I was gonna say, if it's a pedestal seed, that blue pendant's good, but I mean, we still got Ice Palace to check.
Yeah, I think Ice Palace looking stronger now, but at the same time we still have that Pyramid Fairy, so... And fylion dipping in again to check out left side is going to be very disappointing with what's in the left side swamp.
Walter, keep postponing Pyramid Fairy, or is it finally time?
I think it's time. He just took out the hammer, so he's going to go up, get that bombing. Well, I mean, he doesn't really need to do the... go that way. He can just use the portal from Aghanim.
I think he realized that, and that's why they swapped out to the mirror.
So this seed looked very fast in the beginning, but definitely slowed down now since we're still looking for that Quake medallion.
At this point, both runners did turn in the mushroom, correct?
They sure did, so not able to even fake powder ears.
My mind's just going to worst case scenarios, and I thought, what if powder's on pedestal and they could have fake powdered to get Quake from the magic bat?
But Ice Palace, here we come. Unless I really forgot a location here. Oh, well, it's Spike Cave, of course, but doesn't really feel like you want to go up there just for one item.
Well, they got Tower of Hera too, but Walter, I think Ice Palace is better than Hera here.
I mean, if there's nothing inside Ice Palace and on that green pennant, he will most likely go up to Hera and then Spike Cave for then be able to pull Pedestal.
That would most likely be the case next, and it looks like it's Phylion's turn to bomb and head to Pyramid Fairy.
Well, at 1 hour 1 hour 25 minutes, Walter is in go mode. Quake in first chest of the Ice Palace.
I was because I was looking at Phylion's screen. Phylion did a where if you use the mirror, or I believe screen scrolling works as well, right as the blow up, when you transition, you sort of pick the bomb a little faster with their movement and using that mirror to get their bomb back. And like we were talking about, I was thinking they have a decent amount of Dark Death Mountain check. Already done a lot of things around the Smith Loop, is unfortunately delaying those checks. Boots or Cane of Samaria for quite some time now, which is more time loss that Fylion does not need.
Yeah, it's this is Walter's race to lose. Fylion is going to realize he needs Quake Medallion as well, and he has, like you're saying, he haven't done the Smith Chain, which he needs. He really need. He needs the boots, and he needs that fire rod from the hammer picks. So yeah, Fylion has to do Turok. He has Meyer left and Scorewoods left. Still needs to dip in also to get that Quake Medallion for first chest of Ice Palace. It's going to take him a while. Picks up Butter Sword at least, so it's going to help him a little bit. But the main question is, where will Fylion go? Ooh, nice. Half magic and in Turok. So without half magic, you don't need to be worried about doing Silverless Ganon, even though you're having Butter Sword. It's not that big of a difference. So the main question is, where do you go now, Fylion? Okay, he's going to Ice Palace, that's good. He's going to get his Quake Medallion, but it's going to look for more stuff in here that he doesn't need to look for. It's going to be a Bombos Ice Palace here for fylion. Need to go to the hammer pits to pick up that fire rod.
So we saw half magic in T-Rock. Was there anything else even relatively of interest?
Not really, just a very early big key.
Being short one key, technically there is something useful on Laser Bridge for us.
And we're not skipping out on Laser Bridge, that's for sure. I'm starting to feel like Walter will be able to finish the seed before fylion hits go mode, sadly, because it's the overworld checks he needs to do. He's not doing it right now.
Second chest on Laser Bridge, finds that key, doesn't even check the other two. Meanwhile, fylion showing off that Ice Palace bomb jump. Nifty little trick to have to get you through a little faster. Unfortunately, doesn't need to be here.
Yeah, I mean, the thing you could pick up here, you can just pick up like something like the silver arrows at this point. And it's not going to really help in the seed. Quick work from Walter, and Trinex picks up his last, well, 7th crystal. So, Xander, do you want to play a game?
Sure, why not? I think this is the part when everyone just starts putting random numbers in chat, right? I think they mean something.
I think it has something with numbers, and it's something with 22 chests, right?
That sounds about right. I think someone once told me it's you rate on a scale of 1 to 22 how rude this seed was.
So, Xander, where do you think it is?
So, yeah, we're talking about the big key in Ganon's castle. I usually like to think it's on the bonk torch. I don't know, I just like it there. So if I pick a number from 1 to 22, I'll say 3, assuming they check the right side first, then head left.
I think I was going to say torch. So whatever number torch is.
Seeing some higher numbers here. Oh, torch is going to be number 1 today.
Last bottle. Decent. So I mean, I will not win this one, so that's bad. Chest number 2 is a cape, small key. 3, if I can do math. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5. Duh.
And after checking those 4 chests, heading to right side now.
Yeah, do not the Dark Magician's strat.
All right, we're at 7. Oh, I like the little Samaria block throw there. Very, very fancy. Meanwhile, Phylion's paying Cold Stare a visit here, dropping a bombos on him. Down to 4 hearts has to be a little bit careful.
Chest number 8, 9, 10, 11. So wow, both Powder and Cane of Burna, and also Magic Cape inside of GT. You really didn't want to give us all that stuff earlier.
And unfortunately, Cold Stare, doing a number on Fylion, decides to duck out and is heading... Ooh, could be finally doing the Smith chain here.
I mean, this is time for fylion to do it. So question from Chad where Boots and Firerod was. For Boots was on the Smith and Firerod was in Hammerpigs.
And in that firebar room, number 12, we got ourselves a big key. Walter's heading upstairs.
Did we have somebody guessing number 12?
I don't think I saw a 12.
We have a 12 actually, Celera Star, if I can pronounce the name. Oh, he wasn't with the 12, okay. But it was closest to it, okay, I understand now.
And Fylion has a fire rod now. Did not get the boots first, so maybe a little frustrated to find the boots right next door here, but will at least be one step closer to being in go mode.
Yeah, this is going to sting because at this point Fylion might know that he's a bit behind here. Still lacking Cane of Smoria, and we know it's in King's Doom. Walter is making quick work of the gauntlet and is going to go up here against Lamolas.
Meanwhile, Fylion decides, hey, I got a fire rod. Guess I ought to go for Mothula now. Get that crystal and maybe another item. Hoping it's the that cane. Unfortunately, won't be.
This might be going here and then try to route in King's Tomb from this part. There we go, Walter's up against Moldorm, his first fight with Moldorm, and fylion takes down Mothula, not getting that item he wants to get from the good old Moth.
Last chest. They're just holding 20 rupees as Walter heads up for that Aga 2 fight. Hopefully they got their protractor handy.
Now let's see what Aga is. Actually, the second fight with Aga this time around. Here we go. Fylion goes for King's Tomb, I think, unless it's Lumberjack. Not getting the best Aga fight here. Aga just standing still in his corner here.
Yeah, a couple of nasty placements.
There we go. It's time for Walter to fight the pig.
And Fylion just a few screens away from that Cane of Samaria. Gonna be a little sad how late they find it. You can see getting a little frustrated grabbing that chest. Either that or it was a missed boot stash.
Fylion will actually be able to enter go mode before Walter takes out Ganir, so nice feeling at least to be able to know where the item is. But as we can see, those rage slashes are he's not happy, and I can't blame him because sometimes you just forget to do these overroll checks when you find that hammer and mitts very late on.
And in a moment here, we'll see where that other bow upgrade was, because we never got silvers.
Nope, no silvers. They were in GT, so somewhere in GT those silver arrows was in there. Gotta be tile room, right?
Probably. There's a couple other checks, but it's probably tile room. It's always tile room. Worth noting, Walter did get the torch glitch there, so lighting the first torch before the second one goes out only has to worry about relighting that left torch now for the rest of this fight.
I'm getting good patterns, set up the triple hits here on Ganon as well, so it's getting good patterns. And down it goes again. I mean, I should say it explodes on the screen here for Walter, but Walter takes home the first race between him and fylion. Walter entering the bridge, going into the Triforce at 1 hour, 42 minutes, and 56 seconds. GG's to Walter. And at the same time, fylion takes the forfeit as well. Just entered Mire again, so felt like it was better to do it. So let's see if we can get them in for a quick interview and see what they think about this race. We are joined by Walter and fylion. GG's, guys.
GG's.
Hey, good game.
So, how did you guys feel about this one?
Seemed like a pretty straightforward seed from what I saw.
It definitely looks like it, depending on what routing you took. And
yeah, there was like pretty much only two different choices. that was going to decide this game. It felt like, the big one was the one that happened. I guess one went to pod and one didn't, and it could have been like pretty much 50-50 who got rewarded and who didn't. But yeah, I guess for most of the race, I was like, if it didn't go to pod, I'm way ahead. But if he did go to pod, we're pretty much going to be neck and neck, pretty much for the rest of the race.
Yeah, and I don't know. Somehow I just assumed maybe correctly that Walter went to pod. And I need someone to come and teach me when I should go to pod and when I shouldn't, because I seem to always get it wrong. But once I finally made it to pod, I got the mitts, and I was like, okay, this isn't so bad. Like, mitts are fine. It just means Walter got over to Thieves Town more easily. And then 2 chests later, the hammer came out, and I said, okay, so let's put it all on 17. Let's just gamble. And I started playing really wildly. And in particular, I was deliberately leaving the smith behind because I knew that when Walter went to the village, he would have had smith access. And so I was like, checking smith is just kind of a waste of time. If it's an item for progression, Walter's won this. And it turned out that was right.
And we were kind of talking about that, about going to pod as well. There was one point where we thought that you were going to go to pod, but instead you headed over to Graveyard Ledge. Was that kind of with the same mentality of, if it's in pod, I'm really far behind, so let me try everything else I have left first?
Yep. I wanted to take the leverage I had from getting nearer before Walter did, and hoping that would work out. I think I also went up to Hera before I might have gone back to pod. That was the same thinking.
Yeah, I believe you did. I think you exhausted everything before pod, which made sense given your situation. Just unfortunately, in this case, did not work out.
And it's one of those things. If I had maybe thought about the medallion situation and how we might get a late medallion, maybe what I should have done was go back to pod, get those items, and just go, okay, Walter's gonna get stuck looking for the T-Rock medallion, but. I think I was just thrown by how much mobility he had from having both mitts and mitts and hammer, that I felt kind of a greater need for urgency. But Walter also clearly did a lot of things right. And I'm sure he wouldn't have died to cold stare. So I'm not going to chalk it all up. I'm not going to chalk it all up to the pod dive.
So we've been like jokingly trash talking each other in every Discord and Twitch channel that exists pretty much the last couple of days, but I was super shaky in the like mid to late game because I definitely think the fylion is a way better play than me, so I was like super nervous. I was like, if he went to pod, all the like small mistakes I did, I was like, yeah, he should definitely be ahead by now.
So
I mean, I did just cut you on the NMG leaderboard, but
I know. I was like, I saw that yesterday, and I was like, should I do an NMG run now instead of practicing random?
You should. You'll cut me back.
So Walter, what do you feel like you did for mistakes in this one? Since you mentioned,
like when I went to Meyer, I was like potentially in go mode. So I went to Meyer first, and I saw that it was bombos, and I was like, okay, so if Turtle Rock is bombos too, then I'm in go mode. I should have just like cleared Desert and Meyer and then went up the mountain, I think, but I just went up the mountain right away instead and was like, yeah, I wanted to know if I was in go mode. Like, I think I thought that I had more dungeons left to clear than just Meyer and Desert, so it's like, yeah, I want to know so I can go mode everything if that's the case, but then it wasn't, so I just did like the Dark Death Mountain and then left again. I was like, I skipped a couple of things on the mountain. I wouldn't have done that if I did the other things first, and then I just started getting like nervous and did a lot of like execution mistakes on the way.
I feel like
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, go ahead.
Like, go ahead, Sander.
I was gonna say, yeah, we were talking about that as you did, like it was worth that little, like the knowledge to have. But yeah, I can understand how, like, because it led to nothing, it could be a little stressful and frustrating for sure.
Mm-hmm. I see a question in chat about why Swamp Palace before Ice Palace and Pyramid Fairy. So first of all, the flippers did not lead to anything. So it's like, well, the last medallion is probably behind the flippers then. So then it was like Swamp Palace or Ice Palace. Yes, it was like Swamp Palace or Ice Palace, and I was like, well, if fylion didn't go to pod right away, when he finally went to pod, he would have had Swamp access right away. So I was like, well, maybe he just gambled Swamp then, so I should go Swamp before Ice Palace.
Hey, good read.
Yeah, you two were like synced up almost for the swamp check. It just ended up working out that way. Walter, one thing I wanted to bring up for you, I think one of my favorite plays you did was you mirrored and turned in the Smith before doing hammer pegs. How did you feel when the boots were on the Smith?
Oh man!
I most of the times I don't do that, but I was like, there's really, I guess I think I save a menu if I do that. I'm not sure. I don't even think I save a menu. I just did it most times I don't, but I was happy with the result.
So, fylion, you're the one that gets to choose the settings for next race. Have you decided?
Yeah, I am gonna do what I did the other time I lost game 1, which is pick standard mode. And there's no fancy mind games going on with that. The reason I want standard mode is because I missed that original 2017 tourney when we had an Uncle start and Uncle text all the time. And I think it's a fun way to start the run, and so I want to do that.
I approve. I think standard is more fun than open.
I mean, like, also it's neat because you get some items coming out of escape, and there's a slightly higher chance you get to do the early Eastern play, which I always love doing. But yeah.
Well, you got to do it anyway.
It's mainly for the text.
And if I remembered correctly, you are up against each other tomorrow at the same time?
Yep.
Yeah, same time tomorrow, and then I was gonna say if there's a game 3, but there's definitely gonna be a game 3.
So if there's a game 3, we're gonna wait till I'm back from GDQ.
Oh, the suspense is going to kill us all here, waiting for a potential game 3 if that's required.
Well, I will say I hope we get there.
I hope so as well, because this was real fun to see. It just like you mentioned, both of you, it just comes down to what gamble you want to do in the beginning. If you want to go to pod, or if you, for whatever reason, don't want to go to the
I wouldn't even call any of those gambles. Like, both of them makes a lot of sense. It's just like one of those side effects that doing early IGA for Dark World access gives you. Like, both of the plays are correct, or like are good plays, but half the times they work and half the times they don't, pretty much.
Oh yeah, definitely. Me and Sandra was talking about it feels like there's almost a hammer in pod when it's items. At least now during the V31, it feels like the hammer is always in pod. But yeah, fylion, Walter, do you guys have any other thoughts about the seed over?
Oh yeah. There's one more thing that happened in pod that I want to shout out because I've actually never seen it.
Oh, I know exactly what you're gonna say.
What was it, Walter? What was it?
There were 6 keys in the front.
I know.
That was super weird.
I have never seen that happen.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna check the big key chest, even though I don't normally do this, because there's no way we're having all 6 keys in the front.
And there was 6 keys in the front. We were like, what are the odds for that, right? Oh yeah, fylion, you had some unlucky refills with pieces.
I felt so good about all of that escape play I was doing, because like I had run out of arrows, I had shot the wall by accident on Armos, but then I was like, I have the ice rod, I can kill the blue guards, I can stun the green guard, kill him with a bomb, stun the green guard, throw him at the ball and chain guard. Everything felt great, and then that was the worst heart pickup I've ever seen.
Did you get a refill?
In Zelda Cell. But then I got I did have a good heart refill, which was, I was down to like a heart and a half going into Hera, and when I menued to mirror, I saw I was at 3/4 of a heart, so I just grabbed the Spectacle Rock heart going in, which was actually really fun. Didn't help, but it was fun.
Yeah, I think Walter had one of those unlucky heart refills in pod, and that was like when he picked up the blue mail as well. So he had, like when he was going to death warp out of the maze room, he took a little bit longer for him.
Yeah, I actually decided not to take damage prematurely on the way to the big chest because it's like if I get a heart refill, that would be like for nothing. So I guess it kind of paid off.
You know how to get out of the big chest area easily. Clear the rest of the game and have the mirror first.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
But either way, fylion and Walter, do you have any final thoughts about this fantastic scene we got to see?
Pretty much thanks to everyone setting this tournament up, including everyone who calmed and tracked, and fylion for being a moderator for the comps as well.
Oh, thanks. No, same thing. Thanks to Walter for playing against me. We're having a lot of fun doing this. Thanks to you guys for calming. And stick around, everyone, because Sabo versus Andy is up in like 4 minutes. And that's going to be hype.
Yeah, on that note, there's actually Amazing Ampharos versus Doomtap on Speed Gaming 4 as well, happening at just about the same time. And if you want another one after that, we have on 11:20 Willard J. Bradley versus Asder here on Speed Gaming as well.
We got a lot of tournament matches coming up, so stay tuned because you don't want to miss out on the races we have left. So, but Xander, it was a pleasure to do commentary with you, and shout out to our tracker Bandman25, making us look great because we clearly didn't know what we were doing, but that's a different story, right?
Oh yeah, we got no clue. But yeah, it was definitely a pleasure coming with you as well, Alex. Thank you so much. But yeah, on that note, I think we got to duck out and make room for the next comms here for this next race.
Definitely. So have a good night, and GG's to Walter and GG's to fylion for putting up an amazing show, and we're out.
Bye.